Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Thursday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing great out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day and a great week out there so far. Here to bring you the latest on multiple things in this morning's video. The first thing we'll discuss is an active weather pattern setting up over the next several days. I mean, this could be a common theme throughout the entire early portion of November, in my opinion. But we're going to discuss this, talk about what's driving this active severe weather sort of period that's going to be coming up. We'll talk about the ingredients driving it. We'll speak on some short-range model guidance. And more importantly, we'll go over the latest from the Storm Prediction Center as they have highlighted more days that we need to be aware of. So we'll speak on that. We'll give you an update on the tropics. We'll talk about how much rainfall could fall, as far as this active pattern over the middle of the country. A lot of areas it's going to see beneficial rains, but we're also going to have to deal with the severe weather threat too. But like I said, we'll mention the tropics. They have actually bumped up the threats or the risk of development from a 40 to a 50% chance. So we certainly need to continue to watch this. We'll go over all the model guidance from overnight to this morning, and we got you covered there. After we get done doing that, we will speak on what's going to happen weather-wise across the entire lower 48 for your day. A little bit of snow out there, a little bit of Halloween snow across the upper Midwest, already beginning to fall right now as I speak. So we'll speak on all this. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below so I can pray over it. And it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rocking here. So I'm using WeatherWise. Folks, I've been telling you wrong. I've been saying weatherwise.com, but really it's web.weatherwise.app. So type that in your browser or just look for them on app. It's available on Android, iPhone now. And just look for this kind of icon here and this little tornado yellow icon. I'm telling you, it's a phenomenal app. It's up and coming. I think it's going to be a pretty big deal over the next several weeks and months. I think you'll see more and more people using this. They've been working hard to get this app going, and I'm going to be using it like crazy. So we're actually using them to check out the Storm Prediction Center Outlook. We have a level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather for tomorrow. This is for Friday. Not a big deal, just a risk of some damaging winds, some large hail, tornado risk pretty low. But this is kind of day 1 of what's driving this event. Not a big deal, but we're watching tomorrow across the southern high plains. Okay, as we get into day 3, this is for Saturday. I don't want to get my days mixed up here. This is for Saturday. We also have a risk of severe weather across pretty much all of western Texas, Amarillo, all the way down to Midland. I mean, Lubbock. You got a lot of areas that's covering this area. Not a very highly populated area, but certainly there's people who live out here. Risk of severe weather. And for now, we just know there's a 15% risk of severe weather. That could be all hazards, which it most likely will, but what will be the highest risk? This could bump up to another category. We'll have to watch, but a slight risk for Saturday already for this area of the country right here, kind of the southern high plains area. And then, folks, we jump to day 4. Okay, this is Sunday. And I really think Sunday is going to be a bigger deal. We have a risk of severe weather, already a slight risk, level 2 out of 5, all the way from the heart of Nebraska all the way down to North Texas. This covers the Oklahoma City area, Wichita, Hutchinson, Dodge City, Woodward, I think I've already said Wichita Falls, Fort Worth, level 2 out of 5 risk. And same thing, just as day 3. All we know is that there's a 15% risk of severe weather within 25 miles in a given location. Okay, so this is Sunday. I don't want to get my days mixed up. This is Monday. It shifts a little bit east and southeast. Now, all the way down to Waco, all the way up to Kansas City. This includes Oklahoma City again, Tulsa, Fort Smith, Fayetteville, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You guys, already at day 5, okay, for Monday, have a 15% risk of severe weather within 25 miles in a given location. Okay, and then day 6, there's nothing for now, but that could change. They're already mentioning the possibility of severe weather even deeper into next work week. So what's driving this, folks? Well, we're going to show you the mid-level jet, and this is going to kind of throw some people for a loop. But what I want you to watch for is watch what kind of comes on this side of your screen. As we're moving forward here, a big trough digs into the west. You're going to see this kind of bending feature in the purple and the red and stuff like that. And as we're starting to move into, we're already, at this point, we're all the way into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. You see this flow going over this portion of the country down here. We got about 40 to 50 knots of mid-level flow riding over this area. Okay, you see the wind barbs, how they're kind of pointing to the southwest. That means your winds are coming out the southwest right in this area. This provides kind of some oomph in the atmosphere, if you will, so a lift in the atmosphere, and also helps aid in pulling up that low-level moisture from the south. Okay, so we got, just enough kinematics, just enough lift, and just enough moisture at the surface, because you don't need as much in these higher elevations, the high plains of western, because obviously, if you don't know, the further west you go into Texas, the higher up it gets. Even though you're not seeing mountaintops, you're going up in elevation. You're literally going higher up and on a plateau in the middle of the country. So you don't need actually as much surface moisture in the high plains, the southern high plains of Texas and eastern New Mexico. So this will be enough. But watch how we get into Sunday, which I think is going to be a bigger severe weather threat. Look at this bending feature right here. This is a dip in the jet stream, big upper trough digging down right here. And then once again, that stout southwesterly flow, ton of flow over the south central U.S. and central plains states, riding over this entire huge area of real estate. We have plenty of flow, 50 to 60 knot mid-level flow in this area, providing tons of kinematics, tons of wind energy, and just flow in the atmosphere to lift these thunderstorms to get them going. So tons of that. And then, folks, we get all the way into Monday also, and it's the same deal. This upper trough, the orientation of it kind of changes, but still tons of flow in this area right here. You always got to watch this exit region, okay? You get too much embedded into this flow, you start to get on the other side of the cold front, kind of a boundary in here, but a ton of flow right into here. I would say Monday, kinematic-wise, wind energy-wise, is even more of a favorable day. And you get into Tuesday, which isn't a highlighted day yet, but we just got to watch the evolution of this. It gets kind of weird, a little bit more zonal, and we got a lot of flow right over the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. I would watch for severe weather across the Ohio Valley. It's just something we need to watch for, a little bit too far out for now. But with this dip in the jet stream coming, okay, and this ridge that's just plaguing the southeastern U.S., preventing hardly any rain, okay, you kind of have a flow working in tandem to bring a lot of low-level moisture into this area. So we keep this going here. We're already into Friday. We already got moisture building into Texas, dew points in the 50s and 60s. And then you start to get these dew points in the 60s, even some 70s Saturday. Look at this pool of low-level moisture riding all the way into central Kansas. So you got dews well into the 60s. It's humid in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Almost tropical down near the Texas coastline. So you're getting a lot of low-level moisture getting pulled up north. And it's getting pulled this way. It's kind of working in tandem right here. Just pull a lot of moisture that these storms love, right? Just like our tropical systems love this moist air. These storms love it too. Okay, and then we start to get into Sunday, and this low-level moisture gets pulled even further north. So you got this kind of point, if you will, of dew points reaching above 60 all the way up to Omaha, well into the Kansas City area. So you got this huge, what we call moist sector across this entire region, creating a very moist environment for and ingredients for storms. And then check out as we get into Monday, folks. Dew points are getting into the 60s all the way up into the UP of Michigan. And look at this deep moist sector down here across Arkansas, the Mississippi Valley. Yeah, there's plenty of moist air here at the surface for severe weather. And then, we get into Tuesday, we can bring it all the way there. And it gets a little bit different. I think we need to just continue to monitor this, but we start to get kind of a pool of moist air all the way up into southern Ontario. That doesn't mean we're going to have severe weather up there, but, just a lot of moist air. It's just going to be a very warm and humid start in November to the deep south, which we've kind of seen over the last several days anyways. As far as storm fuel, you already got Kate building for Friday into Texas, which is a severe weather day, not a big day, but a marginal risk as of now, could upgrade. And then we get into Saturday, we're getting some storm fuel that's still building into this area, close to 500 to maybe just above 1,000 joules per kilogram mixed layer Kate. That'll get the job done in western Texas, especially this portion of western Texas. And then we start to get into, if this would move for me, come on, pivotal weather. Do I need to talk nice to you to move here? But we continue to move forward, and we're getting into Sunday morning. And, oh, man, you are having a hard time this morning. Or maybe I'm just having a hard time. But we're getting into Sunday morning. All right, let's see if it's going to work for me. I apologize, guys, on behalf of my computer or either Pivotal Weather. Well, we're getting into Sunday afternoon at this point, and we're getting Cape values spiking to over 1,000 joules per kilogram all the way up into Nebraska. And the storm fuel is getting pretty high. The Cape value is getting pretty high across areas of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and this is in response to a lot of low-level moisture building into this area. And we keep this going, and I think we'll just extend this all the way into Monday just due to the fact that this is just not wanting to work for us that well. And Pivotal Weather's like this, a great, very cheap site, but it is very finicky that I think needs some upgrades in my opinion. But we got Cape values Monday, not as high as Sunday, but we certainly have fuel reaching all the way into Wisconsin. So we just got to watch the storm evolution. And the last thing we'll look at, we'll move forward here, is sort of what it looks like. As this is just a Euro 2, okay? And as we move forward here, we're getting into Saturday afternoon. We do have some storms across Kansas. We have these storms across, you see the splotches of green and yellow, storms across eastern Oklahoma, North Texas. You know, this is just a global model. It's not going to show the true structure of these storms. But as we're starting to move into Sunday, you can see a lot of storminess down here in the North Texas, into Oklahoma. And then what does it look like as we're getting into Monday? Another low begins to eject. Could be a little bit more cold air involved in this. And Monday could be a big deal too, especially if we have a 999 millibar low ejecting across the panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas. And we definitely got to watch this. This is for Monday afternoon, Monday evening of next week. You want to watch these storms. And we'll obviously zoom in closer to all this as we get close. But rainfall between now and the next 5 days, folks. You know, we're in a drought condition in a lot of these areas, but a lot of rain has an opportunity to fall across the middle of the country from North Texas, Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, across Missouri, western Arkansas, all the way up into Iowa, Illinois, and the upper Midwest. And there's the key up here. I know it's pretty small, but this little corridor right here is going for over 5 inches of rain. From like Oklahoma City to Joplin to Springfield, 4 to 5 inches of rain. So a lot of rain is possible in these areas, folks. You're definitely going to be making up, you know, for lost time here. And it's good because we have severe, extreme, even an exceptional drought in some of these areas. So drought conditions are plaguing the middle of the country. So it's good to see for sure. So let's go over an update on the tropics. We do have a big blow up in activity in the same area that we've seen it in the Southern Caribbean. There's no defined low-level circulation or anything right now, but we got to continue to watch this. Models are everywhere on this. They really are. We'll get a spike where it looks like, oh no, here we go. And then things will simmer down for about 12 hours. And then for about 12 hours, they'll spike again, and then it'll simmer down. Okay, but what I can tell you is the National Hurricane Center is saying, hey, we got a 50% chance of tropical development sometime in the next 7 days in this area. That means that we have a 50% chance of a depression or a named storm, which would be Patty, forming. Now, what about the GFS? What is it showing right now? Well, it just continues to go all over the place. As we're getting to Saturday morning, has a weak low, consolidates this weak low, kind of moves it north in the Caribbean, takes a tropical storm into Hispaniola around Monday evening. We have this other little area of energy right here. And these kind of pinwheel around each other and kind of slingshot some moisture into Florida. It's not a impactful system at all, but sometime midway next week, and then it just kind of falls apart. That's totally different than what a couple of GFSs were showing, ago, like 2 or 3 GFSs ago, if that makes sense. It was showing that and that and that. So it's just everywhere. Okay, the Euro has been pretty consistent. It likes the idea of a broad low pressure gradually getting its act together in the Caribbean and then drifting into the northwest sections of the Caribbean, and then eventually trying to form and just getting a slug of moisture into the Gulf of Mexico about a week from today. But it's not a very impressive storm system, and I can tell you, especially in the northern Gulf of Mexico, the waters are quite cool. So I don't know how much development we would even get out of this if this gets too deep into the Gulf of Mexico. And then the Euro AI model does kind of the same thing. You know, we're getting into next Wednesday. We're getting a slug of moisture, which would be awesome. I'm pulling for the Euro AI model. I'm not pulling for an all-out tropical storm or hurricane, but it does want to show a slug of tropical moisture that gets into the eastern Gulf of Mexico and then brings the southeast a lot of beneficial rains. Man, I hope that is correct. But then you got the Canadian model, and we'll just go a week out, showing an all-out hurricane splitting the gap between the Yucatan and Cuba. And then we got the icon model, and we'll go to that, and we'll go a week out. The icon model wants to show a category 2 or 3 hurricane in the same area as the Canadian model. So we can't totally ignore what they're showing, but of course, you compare the icon and the Canadian against the Euro and GFS. I would tip you a hat to the GFS and the Euro because they're traditionally just better models. So going forward, as far as what's happening weather-wise for today, big system moving across the country. A big line of storms stretching from, the Midwest all the way down to Texas. It's a connection all the way through. Pretty wild stuff. Storms are rumbling through eastern Texas. Storms are moving through the heart of Arkansas, the Boot Hill, Missouri, and especially southern Illinois. And then we got this comet head feature with rain trying to switch to snow for your last day of October. Come on, work for us. Boom, there we go. We got rain trying to switch to snow in areas of Minnesota, and they actually have winter weather advisories in this area. And I'm telling you, if you live in this area, you're going to get some fat snowflakes today. This is not going to be a snow falling at 15 degrees like you're typically used to in the winter. This will be puking snow at like the low 30s. Then we got some energy across the west. As far as watches, warnings, and advisories, winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings across the Cascades and Sierra Nevada, freeze warnings across the central and southern high plains, and there's those winter weather advisories across areas of northern Wisconsin and Minnesota, and some wind advisories across the Great Lakes region and Ohio Valley too. So as far as the excessive rainfall outlook, once again, using weather-wise, just a slight risk. Just a low risk of flash flooding, a 5% risk down here. Not a big deal for the Deep South. If anything, it's much needed. And then the risk of severe weather. We do have a marginal risk stretching from Cincinnati, all the way to northeast Texas. Okay, so pretty large marginal risk, the risk of severe weather. So tornado threat is below 5%, below 2%, so it doesn't show up. But we do have that 5% risk of damaging winds. And hail, no real risk of hail with this. We're probably going to have a little bit, but it's really driven off some damaging winds. So as far as the southeast today, we do have that line of storms that'll try to continue to hold together. I think Memphis, will get hit. Northern sections of Mississippi, I would say just after lunchtime, we're going to get some much needed showers and storms in Louisiana. I don't think that these will be that crazy or significant. So if you suffer from that storm anxiety like many people do, I wouldn't overly worry about this. If anything, this is much needed rain for Louisiana. You really need it. I don't think you guys have seen any appreciable rainfall since like maybe Beryl, maybe. I'm not quite sure. I think you had a stretch of several days where you had a lot of rain after Beryl. I'm not quite sure though. I can't remember. But we're getting into this afternoon, and definitely some showers and storms rumbling through Tennessee. I know I got a loyal viewer up here and that lives maybe just north of the Nashville area. I think you'll get a little bit of rain today. Some rain will start making its way through Kentucky, just some showers. And, we could have some storms along like the Meridian area, the Alabama-Mississippi border this evening. And then as we are getting into tomorrow morning, still some leftover energy west of the Alps. We need this rain east of the Alps, though. But definitely around, you're taking your kids trick or treating, whatever it is. Nashville's probably going to be pretty wet all the way down to Florence, Alabama. Probably all the way down to Jackson, Mississippi. Probably going to be a pretty wet one. So just go on and prepare for that. And just a closer look at these storms. And, here they come rumbling through Memphis, about midday today. Look at all those showers and storms through Alexandria, Shreveport, and then we'll get some storms around the Jackson area this afternoon into this evening, and then some storms definitely moving through Meridian closer to midnight. So rainfall between now and the next 24 hours, definitely much needed rain. Check out all the rain forecasted for Louisiana, going for an inch, 2 inches of rain, maybe 3 inches of rain. But, I definitely think this lessens as you get deeper into Tennessee and Kentucky right here. We really need this rain to West Virginia. And this is day 2. I'd go on and show it to you, but you can see how the system really fizzles out in this area. But there's day 1 again. I'll kind of zoom into a couple areas. Tupelo going for 1.5 inches or so of rain. So the northeast today, it's a quiet day. Record high temperatures are possible. I think it's supposed to get into the low 80s in Boston today. I think it was just a few years ago you had snow on Halloween or the day before Halloween. So pretty wild stuff. But anyways, you continue to move this forward. Some showers will try to make it into West Virginia where we really need the rain. We get into late tonight. Then some energy will eventually move over, West Virginia, PA. We'll get some much needed showers. Hopefully this adds up to something appreciable. And then waking up tomorrow morning to a thin area of showers kind of going over the I-95 corridor. So the south central U.S., the leftovers of these storms will continue to move through Louisiana, Mississippi, into western Tennessee. We'll get some thunderstorms, maybe some severe in southeastern Texas. Could get some thunderstorms around the Houston area. It's very possible, Lake Charles. And then that's pretty much it. We'll have a little bit of a lull before a pretty active stretch of weather upcoming. And then up here in the north central U.S., here's that little low right here. This upper low that's deepening. Some cold air will get involved and we'll get some dynamics ongoing. And check out the snow falling. It could be snowing pretty hard around lunchtime today in Minneapolis. We'll get a little bit of snow in Duluth, but this has shifted a little bit further east of Duluth, where I think most of the snow will fall just south and just southeast. So, this is around 1 to 2 p.m. this afternoon. It'll be snowing pretty hard in this area. Maybe even some thunder snow. And then as we're starting to get into this afternoon, this evening, some rain will switch to snow in the western UP of Michigan. And we might get a little bit of a rain-snow mix late tonight in the central and eastern UP of Michigan. But, I definitely wouldn't bet on it or anything like that. But as far as how much snow could fall between now and this entire event, a few inches of snow. Minneapolis could get a quick inch or two. I can't wait to see the pictures if it is. I got some followers in that area. If you live in this area, send me some pictures. I would love to see them on Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be, whatever you're comfortable sending it to me. Send me on my email. It's weathercrazy48@gmail.com. I made it when I was like 12 or 13, and I just stuck with it. I know people probably email me sometimes like, man, what kind of email is this? It's honestly something I made when I was like 13, and I just stuck with it. I know most people think, man, you need something more professional like Mitch West Weather or something. I thought about that, but I just quit caring. But several inches of wet snow could fall fast and furious in this area. So don't let this catch you by surprise. Northern Wisconsin, and even into Michigan. A little bit of snow is possible, especially in the eastern half of the western half of the UP of Michigan. And then conditions out west, just some energy flying over the northern Rockies and the Pacific Northwest will continue. Higher elevation snow, lower elevation rain. Some snow showers will try to get all the way into Wyoming. Man, some people sent me some pictures out of Wyoming. I didn't realize Casper almost got a foot of snow. That's crazy. Not unheard of, I guess, but I didn't realize some of those lower elevations, even though you're not low in elevation, but got so much snow. But the system will continue to move into the Pacific Northwest. More moisture to even start tomorrow as we continue to have an unsettled pattern. Snowfall between now and the next 24 hours. This is what you're looking at here. And as far as just straight up precipitation, this is what you're looking at here. So temperatures, it's going to be a warm last day of October. That's for sure. It's going to be pretty warm out there. So you're going to be sweating, trick-or-treating. So go on and bet on that. But temperatures across the middle of the country, chilly. Be snow-covered, probably, if you're trick-or-treating. Maybe from like Minneapolis up to Duluth into northern Wisconsin. But definitely some chilly temperatures across the Rockies. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. If it seemed like I rushed through that, I apologize. I'm just running low on time here. But God bless all y'all. And, talk to you again soon.